Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Free Agents podcast. Back today for some more pre-agents, going back to the old school seasons of the challenge. And today we are talking more about the island. We're talking part 2, episodes 3 and 4 from the season. Lots to get into as this season moves along in a very interesting way. Lots to get into. Of course, I am Matt, here with, as always, Brian Scally. Scally, what's up?
Hello. I'm so excited. I would say a plague has rained down upon us, and it's called the Challenge, the Island. But I'm very excited to be here. I feel like one pretty good episode, in my opinion, and one terrible one. So I'm very interested to talk about it.
Now I'm trying to guess which one is which, because to me, this whole season has just kind of been I don't know, me trying to process how I feel in real time, especially getting ready to break it all down, talk about it. It's just like I'm so bogged down almost with the perception I know of the season, and I'm trying to create my own opinion along the way. But I'm also, I guess, happy to know that there are people that are kind of on both sides of the fence when it comes to how they feel about the season. Some people do appreciate it. I'm going to talk about Reddit in a second, when we posted over there to tell people that we were watching it, and definitely some mixed opinions. So I feel like I'm battling that while they're all out there battling flies.
Yeah, that seems fair. I do think that there, like we said, is I think, like I theorized in part 1 of, is this the worst season of the challenge? Is this the worst season of reality TV, or does it just not match up to what the challenge usually is, and so it depends on your taste? And I think now, halfway through, it's tough to say. It's tough to say. I'm gonna need a little bit more evidence. I don't think I have been just like, I can't possibly watch this, as much as the behavior is horrific. I think that it's interesting having so much time with some of the other people, at least, and getting to see like what the strategies are like. I think as we get further in, and the like family alliance is maybe getting more screen time, it might become more intolerable.
How many family alliances do you think there have been on reality TV? Because when they started talking about the family, recency bias or whatever, recency just has in my mind the Dondi alliance that was named the family, David, Parvati, and Jackson, maybe.
No.
Look, I'll take that
Dixon?
family over this one. Oh, Dixon? Yeah, that's better.
I think that's right. Question mark. Yeah, I will take that one over this one if I had remembered it existed. So yeah, this one is quite interesting. We literally open these episodes talking about how there are 2 major alliances, and this isn't like, I don't think everyone's in the family, but you know, there are various extended relatives between basically like Bananas, Derek, Kenny, Dunbar, Paula, Johanna, and then versus Rachel, Jen, Evelyn, Kellyanne. And that's that gets branded in not a great way either by Bananas.
No, I'm not repeating that one. Go watch the episode for yourself if you want to, or if you want, I don't
know. Yeah, it's not shocking, especially for the time. Basically, Bananas hates that they're feminist.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the dynamics of all of the 2 alliances are interesting, because one of them is not really, to me, it's 3 people working together, Rachel, Kelly, and Jen. But like, that's an alliance. 3 people working together as an alliance. But like the other one is like this big group of people where Dunbar all of a sudden is included in the group, which I found funny, because he just all of a sudden is labeled as in with them. So cool. That's the alliance that we are watching dominate the season, all the way through 4 episodes so far, and we'll see how far it goes for all of their personal journeys along the way, but they do set us up with that. Before we get deeper into it, though, I want to spend some time looking at some of the things people have to say on Reddit. So on the positive side, not much, but a couple of people who said, I genuinely love this season and Evelyn's arc. Interesting enough, obviously, we're about to get into really the beginnings of Evelyn's arc in all of this. And someone else said the island is a better season than people give it credit for. So on that side of things, Scally, yes, some people do find this interesting.
And I think if you can like step away and look at like, this is conflict, and There's something happening here. Whether or not like it's enjoyable is definitely up to you. And probably a no, but like stuff is happening. It's not the most nothing season of all time by any means.
Right. On the negative side, someone, in response to the fact that we are doing this, said, highly advise against this. Fair. Somebody else said, I'm sorry. Somebody else said, I don't know how you make a rewatch of this season interesting, at least, or at the very least, not horribly depressing. The season has rancid vibes from the first episode and only gets worse. Someone else said there was plenty of drama, but the face-offs weren't very fun. The vote outs were usually super predictable, and people sitting under bug nets drinking wine isn't the same as back at the day when we'd be out at the bars with regular people. So to at least like that final comment, yeah, again, this season is just doing something different. It's not intending to be what those other seasons are. It's intending to mix the challenge with a survivor element. And so if that's not for you, totally get it. But I guess I'm finding myself intrigued enough with the concept, especially it's only 9 episodes overall, that I'm not like miserable by any means right now.
Yeah. I think it is an interesting departure from the challenge. I love Survivor, so obviously going to be into a show that is has this setting, doesn't need to have like the like going out, but there's plenty of drinking and hooking up this season. That's just also not always fun either.
A lot of commentary here about bananas. Obviously, this feels like it's certainly set up so far to be the breakout Johnny Banana season. Someone said it's the season that makes Johnny Bananas, and not just John. And then someone else said, yeah, true, except in the mind of Abe, who kept calling him John, even all the way to Bloodlines. Apparently, someone saying that he hated Johnny and thought the nickname was stupid. So I'm keeping an eye on that going forward.
Yeah, I don't really feel like we have a ton of the Abram Johnny like setup yet, so I feel like I can easily see that, but it's not explicitly on the product.
For sure. My biggest challenge butterfly effect is that if Abram didn't ask to be sent home, we may not have been subjected to 800 seasons of bananas.
It's really interesting because even in this stretch of episodes, Evelyn talks about like Johnny can't win. This can't be how it goes. We can't be stuck with him for so long this entire season. It's like, oh, it's gonna be a lot more than this entire season. And that is quite unfortunate knowing the future.
Evelyn says at one point in these episodes, like either he has to go or I have to go. And unfortunately, when it comes to the challenge overall, she goes and he stays.
Yeah.
How do we reverse that? How do we change history and get rid of him at the time that Evelyn leaves and keep Evelyn around forever?
Look, I would love to have Evelyn around. I think she's doing good in the world. So happy for that. She has not given up everything that she wants to in the way that Bananas has. So good for her.
Good for her. Someone said, I'm really not sure if the island needs to be a 4-parter. I guess that's fair, but hey, we're not trying to speed through this rewatch. We're taking our time. So
That's true. That's true. Yeah. Look, we find stuff to talk about.
I mean, as we are right now, especially with your guys' feedback. Appreciate all of it. And then finally, someone said, always funny remembering that Johnny, Kenny, and Derek would go on secret missions at night and raid production's food supply and bring it back to everyone. Somebody else said, I remember an interview maybe 15 years ago where Johnny said that production was just on the other side of the fence so they could smell all of the craft services, and it drove everyone crazy until the cast practically revolted.
Ooh, interesting.
I mean, that's like classic Survivor rumors of like season 1 of people sneaking off and getting food from production or all that kind of stuff. So like that's good. That's fine.
Yeah, I can think specifically of I think like Micronesia has those allegations. I think Cagayan has those allegations of people sneaking over to the production tent, which is highly forbidden. But of course, like if anyone could get away with it, and like.
Yes.
Retroactively, you think Kenny at this time can get away with it? Bananas, not necessarily the producer darling that Kenny was at this time, and I would say Derek much more the producer darling than Bananas up until this point.
Yeah, I mean, look, if we really needed to find stuff to talk about today, we could do the full power rankings of who's the most likely to get away with that, because those guys would be all at the top. Um,
Yeah.
Final bit before we get into the actual episodes, in depth. I was looking at the Wikipedia page earlier, and we didn't talk about this in part one. I don't think that this was on my radar at all. But hey, who doesn't love a challenge season that has a controversy section? Spoiler alert: those
Oh.
controversy sections are not always going to be fun
Oh,
controversy. This
they'll be
isn't fun,
bad.
actually. But specifically just reading it here, it says the season sparked controversy for production's poor respect of the local environment. Panamanian locals criticized MTV for clearing a small patch of forest for construction, developing an access road through the forest, and installing generators and lighting on the beach. The article that is being referenced here is titled MTV Destroys Rainforest for Reality Show.
Yeah, that's not surprising at all. It's not something I had ever really heard specifically, but I feel like it's something that has been levied against, whether it be this season or of the challenge, or just like many productions that take place in whether it be tropical environments or just like the middle of nowhere. Is
Yeah.
what is their impact on the local space and environment? And I feel like it's generally going to always be bad, and even like how are they portrayed? So not great, unfortunately, but also not surprised.
I feel like we have plenty of reason to believe that over the years, Survivor has certainly gotten a lot better with not even just better, just like gotten to a very good place with wherever they go to film. Obviously, now it's all in Fiji that like everything is somewhat mutually beneficial, and they're trying to like give back to also where they are and not make a disaster out of the place, especially all these years later. So glad that they've gotten that all handled. But MTV certainly not at that point with this season. So that's that. All right, getting into the game. Abram just left. We just talked about the split of what's going on with the more notable alliances in the house. Some drama happening all over the place. These people, just in general, are all miserable. Whether it's about the food, the living conditions, a lot of people specifically also talking about like we come on the challenge to compete and we're just sitting around doing literally nothing. So everyone is losing their minds. So when an argument breaks out over here, over there, it's not surprising at all to me. And again, we have plenty of it.
I think that's a big part of it is just boredom. That's something that like gets talked about on Survivor is even when they're doing more regular challenges going to tribal is there's just so much downtime, and when you're really only going for I imagine not that long overall to vote someone out and like maybe a 2 hour long challenge, you're bored out there. It sounds like they're talking about days in between, saying like an airdrop comes every day. So it only happens once per episode. So how many days is each individual episode? I can just imagine how they are sitting, rotting on that beach, absolutely miserable.
Sitting there absolutely miserable with Johnny Bananas and Kenny, as a part of
Oh,
their little family here.
and that's the thing. As people get more miserable, they get more mean, and then other people get more miserable, so they get more mean, and then it spirals even further.
I know we always preface this that like it's a different time, but I think Johnny uses the R word more than any other word in his vocabulary,
Yep.
only talking about the women. And second behind the R word is calling them bitches.
Yep.
So he is fighting with Kellyanne specifically as we open this episode. I will give Kellyanne the shout out here to say she's a rookie. She comes into this season, locks in on Johnny because he sucks, and is not ever going to back down from the confrontation with him. But that's where we start.
Yeah, Kellyanne with a great opening to her career. I think that she definitely makes a mark for herself, even if just in these couple episodes. She has been consistently at odds with Johnny over the portions, the cooking, the just like language he uses. And so when she's already cooking and he comes in and says like, get out of my way, you're done, like I don't care that you started, I'm controlling the portions of the fish, and then starts levying some usual pejoratives at her as soon as she pushes back.
Yeah, and like I know also we've come a little bit farther along, you would hope, especially in like a TV setting with like how some horrible men will talk to women, but like it's truly just it's like the worst you could ever imagine. Maybe not the worst, I don't know, there's probably worse. But it's really bad of just like all of the things that he says to her and the way that specifically we're seeing more him than Kenny so far this season, but both of them just the way
Definitely
that
both.
they talk to them both.
I would say
Um
definitely more him this stretch of episodes. I would say Kenny was probably worse in the first two episodes. If we have to qualify there, Johnny is throwing, every word that we previously talked about at Kellyanne. He's calling her anorexic. He is talking about her face. He's talking about lots and lots of things. And complaining because Bananas is, as we see in the modern day, how do you say, a really poor sport. And so when people ended up voting for him at the last elimination to go home, even though Abram was going to quit, he doesn't take that well at all. And so that has really just fired him up even more to be as nasty as possible.
Yeah. And like, I just want to also put a little bit of a preface here. Like, if you know the Free Agents podcast well, if you know me well from listening to the podcast, like, yeah, I'm not a Bananas fan. I never have been. So I just like want to make it extremely clear how none of what we're talking about in this season, in these episodes, is me just like being biased against Bananas. He absolutely sucks. Like so bad. Anyway.
Yeah. Don't like him, recognize what he's brought to the show. But at the same time, when you recognize that, a lot of it's been this super toxic behavior.
I'll be very curious to see if this is the season where he is on his absolute worst behavior or if it gets worse at any other season. Because it feels so far like it could, like, if it's not the worst, then that's bad, but we'll see.
I feel like it's the most consistent worst off the top of my head. I could think of other instances that were really bad, but I'm struggling to think of a season that is just consistently so horrible.
I mean, especially as we go on, he's going to become, such the golden boy of the franchise that they're not going to show this as much if it's
that
happening still. So elsewhere on the island, we have Robin and Derek talking. Robin heard me, right? She heard me say, Robin, what are you doing here? And she said, oh, I'm going to make my mark on this episode and shut you up. And that she did. She's talking about how it's her 6th challenge or whatever. She really wants to get the win, but she's having a hard time kind of figuring out how this game is going to go for her. And we are definitely just overall seeing much more of her in this one episode here than we have in the past. For me, 3 seasons of her.
Yeah, about Robin is interesting. She's someone who has been around pretty consistently for a long time now, and it's funny how these like and you're still doing challenges things don't get levied at like Brad, who's from the same season of The Real World as her, but she's kind of always been in that group that's like still the more popular group. She literally just worked with a large majority of them on the gauntlet. So now she comes in, I think, like, these are still my friends, but there's so many like limited spots that even on that season where they were semi-working with her, they were also talking behind her back about how she's dead weight. We want to get rid of her. So I think it's a tough spot for Robin to come in here.
Yeah, I mean, like, let's just jump ahead to dinner here, where it's dinner time. Of course, every time that they're all eating, there's a lot of attention on everybody's portions and whatnot. At some point in these episodes, Bananas talks about how they all decided that the guys need to be eating more. So they are specifically supposed to be planning out that way.
Yeah, anyway. We all agreed. Not all of you women who are yelling about it, but everyone else has agreed. Like, what?
Mm-hmm. Yep. But drama here with Robin, because apparently she has been taking more food, or this time took more food than she's supposed to. Kenny specifically is called out as someone who was putting the blame on Robin, and then Robin is going to confront Kenny about this.
Yeah, Robin's been painted as a little bit paranoid in terms of how she plays the game, and apparently that's been a trend on her seasons. It's not something that I feel like they've really highlighted up until this point, but doesn't really surprise me given her behavior. She comes in, verbally swinging. She's not happy to be talked about.
No, she's like, I've been cooking and cleaning and nobody else has. I've been doing everything around here. Who knows what the reality of it is, but she's obviously very upset. She starts crying about all of this. And you have Kenny that is like the main person getting all of her anger about all of this, but Johanna is basically on his lap, like right next to him. Obviously, Kenny and Johanna very linked together this season. Robin's going to end up being even more upset and frustrated with Johanna after all is said and done here. And they are going to get into it a little bit, and this gets a little spicy where Johanna is going to call Robin out because of I guess her past with Kenny.
Well, Johanna like jumps in here, and I think she was talking about Robin being like, yeah, like, oh, she took a big portion, and then all of a sudden, as Robin's like, I cook, I clean, Johanna's like, what's your problem with me? And so I felt like, from an editing standpoint, it felt a little abrupt, or Johanna was like feeling guilty, so she jumped in. It's like I didn't actually mention your name specifically, so it was a little bit of a escalation that becomes a problem, and so when Johanna gets madder and madder and madder and Robin calls her out saying Johanna's plan was to Johanna. Okay, let's first jump into Johanna's plan for the season is where she plans to make it to the last week and just have someone hand her a key.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, look,
Let's start
same.
there.
Me too.
Look, it's ideal, but saying it in front of everyone is not going to look great.
No, no. And the way that Robin frames this is that she said she's basically planning to F her way to the end of the game, just, by sleeping with Kenny, and that alliance will get her the key when the time comes. To which Johanna is going to call Robin out and say, look, I F Kenny because I like him. Why did you F him?
Yeah, that was crazy. The drop of like, and why'd you fuck him? Like, oh, because we're not privy to this. As much as Kenny is constantly talking about he's the best looking man on the season, and he's been pretty single for the majority of it. He really doesn't hook up on the show a lot. It's even like made fun of at a point of like, oh, Kenny, why aren't you hooking up with anyone?
Yep.
It's really Johanna for the majority of his time on the challenge, especially up until this point, at least in my memory, moving forward. So is not really doing all the hooking up. And so to find out that he and Robin have apparently been smashing outside of the show, okay.
I mean, Kenny's loving all of this. It's two women that are fighting over how both of them have either previously slept with him, currently sleeping with him, or just have been into him at one point or another. So he's loving this. Yeah.
But like so weird because I mean, unsurprising to hear Kenny talk about a woman in such a gross manner, but so about a woman that has just been revealed that Kenny has slept with. He's like, everyone knows she's the biggest pig here. It's like, you slept with her. Like, what are you talking about?
Robin and Johanna just continuing to have some drama with each other here. They're just like, still going at it. Eventually, when they kind of split up a bit, Kenny is going to comfort Johanna a little bit. He has a line here that threw me off because it was a term that I'm not super familiar with. He said that he's going to be there for her, whether they're knocking boots or not.
You've never heard knocking boots? That's hilarious.
I haven't. I really was like I was like, is there somewhere deep down that I've heard someone say knocking boots before? No, but I got it.
It's just a very silly phrase.
Yeah.
So I enjoy that. But yeah, apparently Kenny told Johanna, like, I'm going to have your back on this season before they came here. And I believe that. It seems like they were friends. There was no real, like, look, obviously there could not have been super flirty energy given that she and Wes were together up until this point. But at the reunion, maybe that started a little bit. And so I think regardless of whether they were full on hooking up, there would have been some type of relationship. I think Johanna would have been like, that in that fourth spot in their alliance, regardless. But I mean, I think maybe Kenny goes a little bit harder in the paint for her, given
once they start knocking boots.
Once they start knocking those boots.
Yeah, for sure. Robin is talking to Ryan about how, she's in a different place in her life now. So she's going to say about Johanna what everyone else is thinking. She really wants Johanna to go in next, basically to get her out, obviously not to help her get a key. But let's just talk about what else is going on for Robin out here, because she might be knocking boots with somebody else. And that's Dan, who had a big first two episodes and then now is pretty quiet, aside from he's looking to study the supplies they get to build the boat, and he might be knocking boots with Robin.
Might be studying Robin. It's such a weird, like, little hookup that I honestly had like remembered in the recesses of my mind, but like maybe pushed out, because watching Dan and Robin just like lay around in their hammocks and kissing, and Dan tell me about how Robin is a female version of him, like, I don't think these two are good for each other. I think that they are going to very much bring out the worst in each other.
I don't feel like I know enough, I guess, about Dan to feel confident in putting my mark on on that part of the discussion, but you can definitely see
Just
the vibe.
in terms of like maybe drinking too much in
Well, then,
general,
yes, that is fair.
paranoia in the game. I feel like maybe we are exacerbating a problem.
For sure. So yeah, Dan and Robin is a thing, as was Rachel and Jen. To take it back a little bit in the episode, that was a thing as far as them having a little bit of a makeout sesh.
It's a
At the
weird
end of the
thing.
day, it doesn't seem like this is a full-on relationship, but there's a very strong connection between these two. Rachel seems like she is still pretty heavily crushing on Jen, but Jen is kind of at this perspective of just like, I am really connecting to Rachel on like a soul level.
Yeah, Rachel is like, Jen is an amazing person. I'll be connected to her for the rest of my life. And Jen is talking about the same. And I like, given 2026 Jen, how close are these two? How much do
I
they still sign off on each other being a great person and loving each other so much?
Honestly, Rachel probably still signs off on Jen. Jen probably doesn't care about Rachel.
That's what I thought. Like, I feel like Rachel is a bit, guys, Jen's a great person. Like, you just got to look past.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
is what I would guess. Also, the Brooke and Evelyn stuff from last season made such a mark on the franchise that like Jen's even referring this. Of course, it's two
Mhm.
women that made out last season, and she's part of two women making out this season. So she's like, well, this is different from where Brooke was making out last time
Well,
around.
I think she's referencing where she and Brooke made out on her Real World season.
Oh,
Yes.
well,
They
that
show
makes
a
more
clip
sense.
briefly. Yeah.
Oh, I totally missed that. I thought she was just like, oh, like, you guys are all so focused on like two women
No,
making out. Oh, I totally missed that.
no, I think it's actually very similar to the Evelyn and Brooke stuff, where
That's what
it
I was thinking.
is someone who is, look, experiencing feelings and whether sexuality is a spectrum. I think that is too much to handle for some people, and for
I mean, still,
Jen,
yeah, still to this day, it's too much for some people to figure out or handle.
oh,
So
easy, yeah.
definitely for some people back here for sure.
Yeah. Well,
We'll get
this
into
is a label. This is a an era of like everyone must be labeled, and there
yeah,
are three labels, and you have to fit a label, and yada yada yada. And so it is very much like I am not any of those. It's like, okay, calm down. Go make out
exactly.
with someone, 24/7, but whatever.
We'll get obviously into more about Rachel as the episode goes on, but she's just, she's got Jen. She's feeling anxious because she hasn't been competing. She's definitely one of those people that's just like, there's not enough going on for herself out here. She just came back to the show after all this time, and was looking to compete in challenges. That's just not been happening so far.
Yeah,
More
I
on
think that's
Rachel.
again the thing. Like, you just go stir crazy. There's nothing to do. Like, I'm gonna have to go into one of these eventually. Let me just do it now.
Yeah. We get the next airdrop, which this time the women are all going to swim out and get everything because, as Bananas says, they want to sit back and see which of the women are worth it in the game.
Yeah, the women, aka the women and Ryan. Unfortunately, it's how this gets referred to. So yep, they all go out hand in hand, and it's like, all right, you know what? Everyone actually did a good job. They can't lift the crate once it gets in, so everyone helps out then. But no one seemed to do badly. I
No,
was waiting for who's going to struggle here.
but we get some drama out of all of this. In addition to all the different food items that they get another piece of the boat. Obviously, every drop comes with stuff for the boat for the end of the game here. And apparently, what we're learning here is that Robin is good with boats. Robin knows how to
Mhm,
sail, and that's going to be a big factor in this episode as well. So when Bananas is talking to Robin, and was it Kenny? I think that was also standing there,
mhm.
just about strategies for how the boat may come together, how they're going to sail. And Robin's just like not super checked into this conversation. She's not like answering all of Bananas' questions. And so Bananas has a moment where he feels like she's purposely not giving him answers about the boat. So he like pats her on the back and walks away. He's like, all right, you keep your information to yourself. And it just furthers the divide between Robin and some of these other people.
Yeah. It is clear what it is that Robin was on the Real World San Diego. On every season of the Real World, they have to have a job and they have to maintain that job, otherwise they're gonna get kicked off the season. So on Real World San Diego, they did a lot of work on a boat. And so Robin has learned to sail through that experience. It's very public knowledge. So when Johnny is saying, like, okay, so Robin, just hypothetically, if I'm there on a boat and you're not there with me for some reason, and the wind is coming at us, like, do we just go back and forth? Like, how would we continue to sail that? And Robin's like, I'm not really sure. And purposefully withholding information because for Robin, this is her biggest tool in the game. You want me on that boat because I know how to sail. And if this is a sailboat, I am one of the most valuable people here. Banana's very frustrated by this because he's used to getting what he wants. And what he wants is all of the information without Robin on that boat.
And I totally can see or understand the perspective that she might have just been purposely withholding information, but also just seemed like she was out of it and checked out from the conversation.
Maybe a little
so
bit.
I think there was a little bit of both going on. But yeah, that's what's going on there. We haven't talked enough about Evelyn yet. Not that we should have so far throughout the episode, but obviously a lot of these 2 episodes has to do with her. Evelyn is talking about wanting to go into elimination, but there's a lot of rumors going on that Kellyanne is going to be thrown into this elimination. Kellyanne's not very happy about that. She's talking to Kahara, who's calming her down. But we're going to see so much over the course of these episodes about Evelyn beginning this journey to wanting to go in. This group of 3 is seen as a group, Evelyn, Kahara, and Kellyanne, mostly because Evelyn and Kellyanne are friends, and I guess Kahara and Kellyanne obviously have that connection. So we are kind of keeping an eye on what's going to happen here.
Yeah, it is interesting. Obviously, 2 people can survive going in here, but if it's going to potentially be another vet, Evelyn and Kellyanne, that's a dangerous situation. I think Evelyn wants to be available as a vote to save Kellyanne, and or give Kellyanne a chance to win because Evelyn assumes if she's in there, she's definitely beating Kellyanne. So she's willing to take the back seat and step back for 1 week in order to give Kellyanne a better chance, and really comes back to bite her a little bit.
Be so confident in yourself as a person that you like, it's not even like, oh, what's going to happen if I go in? Like Evelyn going into an elimination, honestly, for herself or from the rest of the house's perception of her, is that it's an automatic win, which good for her. Anything else before the nominations? There's a little bit here and there. Just like everyone's plans of what they think that this is going to end up being, but
there's a little bit of there's one like interesting line where Robin is talking about her fight with Johanna, and and she's talking with Ryan, who's giving her credit of like, you were ballsy last night. Like, I did not expect to see that out of you. I just worry a little bit about your paranoia. She pushes back saying like, no, I used to be this submissive girl before who wouldn't push back, and I've changed. I am a different person who is not going to take shit. And I am wondering, like looking back on her challenge career so far, where that's not really like the view entirely that I had of Robin. And so I'm wondering, like, what was it in her life, and like recontextualizing things from past seasons in my mind.
Again, feels like we are getting, I don't even know if I can say like a different Robin, but just we are getting Robin for the first time in a little bit. So when she's like, oh, I'm different, I'm changing as a person, I'm like, I wish I could feel like I get that, because I just don't. I feel like I just haven't seen enough of you in the past couple seasons to feel like I'm just like finally getting to know you a little bit better. And I know we're going to get even more personal story from her between now and the end of her time on the show. So like, I know that it's coming. It's just, it hasn't been yet.
Yeah. And I think it's hard because I think that the structure of the challenge is such that like I have seen an entire real world season of Robin, and so I feel like I have a little bit of that to lean on, where obviously you do not have that. And so I think that it was assumed a decent amount of the audience did.
That's fair. Definitely fair. I'm the outlier. It's okay, but I know.
I'm just saying, this is not when they made the challenge The Island, they did not assume that people would be doing a rewatch podcast about it in 2026.
I don't know why they wouldn't assume that.
I don't think that was the intention.
Well, then some of these people probably wouldn't hopefully have said some of the things that they were saying, but they also might have.
Yeah.
So we get to nominations, and again, a lot of different plans of what people want to have happen here. Rachel's going to open things up here. She says, as the oldest veteran there, she is volunteering to go in, and she has a specific plan of who she wants to go in against. She would like it to be herself, Kellyanne, and Ashley going in. We have much to talk about with Ashley in these two episodes. But look, if I'm Rachel and I get my way here, what a great plan. Love it.
This was crazy. This was so crazy. Rachel's like, I'm not going to tell anyone that I plan on volunteering. I'm going to go in at the last second and demand exactly what I want to happen. No one gets to be privy to my plan. I know that, okay, Robin, you think you're going in, but that's not happening. Any other vets, shove it. I am going in. We are feeding the rookie women to me, and I will have the ideal position in this game. Everyone good with that? We're all going to sign off. Like, what?
You know what? You got to go for the shot sometimes.
It was crazy.
It obviously doesn't work to exactly the way that she would have hoped for, because Robin is also going to end up putting her foot down. She says that basically she's saying to us, like, it's ridiculous that Rachel's playing like the whole, like the vet title, playing, playing that card. She's like, I'm also a vet. I don't know why you would feel like you have any more authority over me in all of this. She's not afraid of going in against Rachel. And also just a little bit of like, Rachel's coming in here to try to push her plan. Robin's had this plan. She says everyone knows that she wants to go in, so she's not going to just back down because Rachel's blindsiding us all with her own plan. So she says she's going in as well. Johanna was a name that was supposed to be in the mix here. Robin was going to push Johanna's name and try to possibly, I guess, take her out of the game, or for sure tried to do that. But that's going to fall by the wayside with Rachel pushing herself to go in so much. So now we have Rachel and Robin that are both firmly on the table, and Kellyanne is going to be the rookie that is being fed to the wolves here, or so they think, before we get to the face-off.
It's so interesting because sure, Rachel debuted on the show first, but in Robin's mind, it's like, whoa, this is my 6th season. You've done 5, so like, chill. Like, I'm more tenured than you. I wish that Robin had come in and had opened by like, I nominate Johanna. Like, that was such a funny plan that she planned on doing. I think that would have been electric. So I mourn that we missed out on that, but I think this was a pretty good set of circumstances where we ended up where Robin throws a little bit of a fit. She's not thrilled. She wants to end up in there. We have Rachel who throws herself in, and we have Kellyanne, who you could say is like, oh, boring, a rookie gets voted in, but Kellyanne is a big character. Like, this is a pretty big showdown between 3 big people on this season.
Yeah. And just on the dynamic you were talking about of like Robin and Rachel and their vet status, I like love thinking about this because I think any of us can think about a time in our real lives where we might have been the Robin, I guess, in the situation of like, you're doing something with a group of people, whether it's at work, whether it was something at school, and then like somebody shows back up that's been like MIA. Like, I don't know, specifically I'm thinking of and this is a friend, this isn't like drama, that at work, that like this guy showed back up after years of not having worked at our job. And it was like he kind of just jumped back into his spot. And again, it's a friend, so it wasn't like a problem with this. But it was just like, wait, all of a sudden, like you're back in the power dynamic of like what's going on here when you haven't been here for years. But like, yeah, you were here first. But it's hard to make that feel like it matters to the people that are in the power core when you jump back in, because they've been making their spot established. So I just think it's very interesting.
For sure.
So that's just my 2 cents there. But we get into the face-off where very interesting dynamic here between Robin, Rachel, Kellyanne. The family wants Rachel gone because she's such a big threat and obviously an enemy to their alliance at this point. They're going to be playing the rack.
The rack. In the rack, there will be 2 parallel bars, a couple feet apart over the water, where you have to maintain contact with both bars and not fall in the water. That's the prompt. We get told that at certain times they may be told they have to get into a specific position, and they obviously then can go ahead and do the transfer. But during all of this time, they must not lose contact with either bar.
Simple enough to understand. Also, what a fun prize that they are playing for here. You'll get a copy of Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist and also a round trip ticket for 2 people, 4 days, 3 nights in New York City for something related to the movie.
to go to, I believe, the New York City premiere of
Yeah.
Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist, a movie that's been on my watch list for a very, very long time. Not like ever really creeping towards the top, but it's like, I mean, I would watch that eventually. So funny that that gets reminded. Maybe it'll push it up a little bit. Uh, and I don't know if it's the biggest motivator, but these women go quite the long time during this challenge.
They do. Kellyanne seems to have a disadvantage at the top here, where she is. It sounds like she's. These are not adjusted to their heights whatsoever. So
Ooh, of course
Kellyanne
not.
has
Challenge.
shorter legs, and Kellyanne's like toes are barely reaching across. As they start with position number one is you put your butt on one pole and your feet on the other. Very easy to start off. Position number two, they all make it to this one, is a little bit tougher, where instead of their feet on the opposite pole, they have to bend their body forward and put their arms, both hands, on the opposite pole. Basically just fully bent over. Both are, sorry, all three of the women are doing okay at first. Kellyanne is getting a little bit of credit for that. She's keeping her body moving. She's like wiggling her butt, moving her arms around, keeping the blood moving. Whereas the other two are not doing that as much. Ultimately, Robin is going to drop first.
Yeah, and this was a little confusing to me because I feel like the rules were explained as you have to maintain contact with both poles. And Robin is disqualified because one of her arms comes off the pole after they were told to be in a position where their butt's on one pole and their arms are on another. And I did not understand that you had to keep both there necessarily. I thought the one arm was good enough contact.
I mean, I think it's just two separate rules. You have to maintain contact with both poles, and TJ said you have to be in the position that I tell you to be in, which is kind of a crazy sentence to say out loud.
I guess so. Whoa. The thing is, when TJ says like we may ask you to change positions throughout the challenge, when they after like 30 minutes are like, okay, time to change, and then for the rest of the 2 hours, it's like, well, you just stay in the same exact position for 90 minutes. I was like, I was expecting a little more variety here.
Well, that's why I was also confused. I was like, did they change the first position after an hour and then because I didn't see a timer on the screen unless I missed it.
It popped up every so often, but it was like it would pop up and then someone would fall, and like we didn't get the exact time they fell, and I was like, well, they fell sometime after 2 hours,
right? Ultimately, Kellyanne is going to be the winner of all of this. Rachel was starting to feel numb and she ends up dropping. So, they wanted to throw this rookie in there. And even Evelyn comments on like, I don't know why everybody was so confident in Kellyanne being the one to go in. Like, she's tough. You just obviously don't know that yet about her, but you learned today. So Kellyanne is going to get this win, sending Rachel and Robin into the elimination. We'll get to that in a second. But first, Kellyanne has a big decision to make. Since she gets to go on this trip to NYC for the premiere of the movie, she also gets to gift the exact same prize to one of the guys. TJ very hilariously explains, but you don't have to go with the person. You just have to give it to someone.
Which for
of course, Kahada is going to get it.
For a brief second, I was like, what man is Kellyanne going to give it on this season? And it's like Kohada. It's like, oh yeah, he's here. So good for Kohada. He gets a free trip.
Look, by association to Kellyanne, or proximity, I should say, he is featured so much more in the season than I think he otherwise would have been. When we talk about the confessionals at the end of this podcast, we're going to talk about some people that are straight up just not being shown. Kahada is on the lower end of confessionals, but again, whenever he and Kellyanne are talking, I'm reminded that he's here more than some other people. So.
Yeah, and he was in my estimation of the time, I wasn't like, on the forums and the Reddit threads. Did Reddit threads exist then? Figuring out who the fan favorites were. But I felt like Kohada was definitely a fan favorite. So to see a very small edit was surprising.
Yeah. So Rachel is going to go make her pitch to Kenny and Johnny. What do you think of what she attempts here?
It was interesting. I'm not used to seeing Rachel in this position of just like, I know you're questioning my loyalty. I will give you everything. I will do anything you say. If you want, you think that I have influence over people and that's scary, I will influence them to do whatever you want. Just keep me in this game. I thought that quite the interesting position from Rachel, who we're so used to playing from the front to having these like strong like dispositions. I was pretty surprised to see her just kneel at the altar of Johnny and Kenny.
Johnny, of course, puts it in such a nice way, saying that Rachel will do anything short of having a menage a trois with the two of them to survive and stick
What
around
a
here.
cursed menage a trois. Like,
True,
no, thank you.
truly.
Would not watch.
No. But I'm also just really fascinated by this Johnny and Rachel scene because knowing what's going to come, however many seasons later in season 40, where they are obviously going to come
Huh.
back together, she is going to become what she affectionately refers to herself as one of Banana's angels.
Blech.
So yes. But just like all of these stories of these veterans that are going to, have their relationships develop over the years, this one isn't going to be that. It's not like, between this time and season 40, there's so much more. It's like a very quick, like, this is how they are now, and then that's how they are then. So I'm just want to flag it up.
It was
Um,
interesting. Rachel being like, I will do anything it takes to win. She talks about how she would always show up and she was like, I'm ready to game. Like, who am I like talking to over here, talking to over there? And like, how can I work this so that I'm going to be in the best position? I feel like that wasn't like explicitly clear on all of the seasons that Rachel was on before. So it's especially fun to get that context now. Obviously, like we saw, but it was less framed as like Rachel is scheming and gaming and manipulating. So fun to hear that basically admitted to this point because I feel like whatever it takes to win, quote unquote, is not like the Rachel Robinson that we have in 2025, I guess is the last time we saw her, probably, right? Or?
yeah, beginning of 2025. It's
Yeah.
very early on there. Yeah.
Oof.
Um, I also just random thought, seeing Rachel here as much as we are, makes me miss Veronica. It's been too long.
Oh, I miss Veronica so bad.
Imagine the two of
Soon.
them both out here together, but yes, soon we will have her back. So just to further this point about Rachel's pitching, it seems to kind of work a little bit. When Johnny goes back to the family, Johnny and Kenny go back to tell them what Rachel's doing, that she's basically selling her soul to them, that like they're nervous about it because like that's scary for a player to be this invested, that like they're just willing to do anything. It sounds like she's willing to turn on her own people for us, but also if she is going to be loyal to us, and Robin's not helping us figure out how to sail a boat, then who knows, or then why should we keep Robin? So at least what the show is trying to tell us is that going into the elimination, there's a pretty good chance that they were going to save Robin.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
I mean,
Rachel.
yeah, I followed. Even the number of people in this room is too many to be on one boat. There are so many more people in this house than are going to be able to be on the winning team and thus really need to make a move. And so the thinking of what is the bigger threat? Rachel, who could potentially mobilize like these people, if anyone is going to be able to, like throw this really random group of people on the outside of the main alliance and bring them together, it's Rachel. Like I don't think that there is a significant threat outside of that. So like that's one side, and then Robin, who's not going to be on our boat. Like as much as we can tell her, like, yeah, Robin, you're great, you're in the alliance. She's not making that top four in any configuration. I don't know like what do 7 people have to go home before her that she makes it onto this position, so she's going to be at best on the other boat, and that's a little bit of a dangerous position because if that other boat all of a sudden has a really good sailor and we don't, then are we just signing our own like second place check? That is a little bit scary.
I am obsessed with the idea that Robin is like the best sailor the world has ever seen. Like we cannot possibly have her as an opponent because she knows what she is doing. So
Robin like running a Viking ship on the other side is
I
so
mean,
funny.
please, like
Heave.
I just think to like when like just recently jump all the way to again season 40, like Michelle Fitzgerald finally shows like or not finally, but she shows like, oh, like I can be a contender in a final if you put me in the water. That's my thing. She doesn't win, but she comes so close. If Robin is looking for her win after all this time, and it's like, what we've needed this whole time? A boat. Get me on a boat and I'm winning.
you know we'll see, but
we will indeed see. Well, this elimination, Rachel versus Robin, there's some kind of pun in here, Rachel Robinson, but it's not happening in my mind super easily. Rachel Robin, nope, whatever. Both of them are going to make their pitches. Robin's basically, did you know that I can sail? Have I mentioned that?
Oh, oh,
Also, I hope that I can prove my worth. I have a lot of emotion in here, but I can bring something of value to you. Kenny in confessional is talking about how Robin is trying to use her tears to help save her, but that is not going to be what saves her, if anything at all. Rachel's pitch is that she is actually a little bit off the course of where she was earlier. She says
hmm.
she's not willing to compromise her integrity anymore. And the family alliance, Johnny and Kenny and all of them, take that as she is not willing to send Jen home if it comes to that. And so when we get to the votes to eliminate one of these two, well, the family is all going to send Rachel packing.
Yeah, okay, so yeah, that is something they asked for her loyalty on. Of basically, if it came down to us or Jen, would you send us home? And I don't know, is that Rachel having a second guessing on that and deciding she actually like is a moral person who is too much for this game, or did Rachel get the hint that she's going home anyway and decides to make a grandstand at the elimination, being like, I actually am a good person?
I'm gonna guess it's that for sure.
That's what I think.
Yeah, no, that's definitely the vibe. Because even when they I was kind of saying this a couple minutes ago, like when they production or whatever, the the edit seems to make us think going in that Rachel's the one that's going to be saved because Paula has like a last minute confessional, like, oh, maybe this is what's best for us. I was like, I don't believe you at all. I just feel like they
Yeah.
knew Rachel was a threat and they were going to want her gone. So, um, the family is the majority of the votes here for Rachel to go, but ultimately also Dan votes for Rachel to go. Obviously, him and Robin are, what is it? Uh, uh,
Knocking boots,
Knocking boots. Thank you. Um,
smashing.
that. But also Ryan Kehoe votes with them. I wanted to point out somewhere here, why not now, that Ryan is not a member of this alliance, but he may as well be. He votes with them. He does everything that they
Mm.
want every step of the way so far.
Yeah, I do think it's just Ryan and Robin are close, and so go ahead and sign that one. But I do question how much Ryan is playing this game for himself at this
Yeah.
moment.
Rachel was obviously getting frustrated as all the votes were coming in. She asks them like openly, "Oh, are you guys just all being out and proud about your alliance now? I'm confused. What just happened here?" But she's gonna be out here. Robin gets plenty of votes still. It's an 8-6 vote where Robin gets Ashley, Tyree, Kahutta, Evelyn, Coley, and Jen all vote for Robin to go.
Like we're so close. The people on the outside really could have done something here.
Did you prefer Robin would have gone?
Mm, I prefer that the main alliance has opposition, and Rachel
Yes.
is like, I think if she stays, she's probably still working for them. I really think, in my estimation, she got hint that she's going, and that's why she does this speech. But I just want the chance, and
Yeah.
Robin in my mind is not that chance.
Rachel and Jen, a little bit of that story to close us out here, where Rachel says she's wishing the best for Jen. She also says she's happy she left when she did here, which is just what people say when they get eliminated. That's
Mhm.
fine. Jen is going to miss Rachel a lot, but now she just needs to look out for herself, which is going to be, you're going to notice that as we get into the next episode. And Paula has a confessional saying that Rachel going home is going to scare people because you're either with them or you're against them being the family. So they're going to send home everybody who's against them. And, we'll see. They may be right about that.
A little bit of a breakout episode or season for Paula as well. I feel
Definitely.
like I had in my mind that Paula was a big character as soon as she jumped onto the scene, and I think that really was me knowing her from the real world, paying a lot more attention to her because on her seasons previous to this, she was there, and it was like Paula's a good competitor, and that's all we got.
No, I've been
So
waiting. I've been waiting big time to get more from Paula. And I think this is her fourth season now. And this is definitely the most we've had so far, which
finally,
finally, yeah, exactly. Rachel Robinson, 2 more seasons to go before we get to All Stars, including next season, which, might be a notable one for her. So that
ooh.
is coming up. But right now, Rachel is out as we go into episode 4. Everybody's hungry, obviously, lack of food, lack of sleep. They're miserable. Coley wants a cheeseburger. Um, just the way I said that made like Polly wants a cracker. Um,
I can hear that now. Um, yeah, all of a sudden, every single person in this house is absolutely desperate to go in for their chance to get the key.
Yeah, especially Paula, who we were just talking about. Paula wants to go in and get her key. She's talking to Ashley about this. Ashley would also like to go in to an extent because she feels like everybody is using her name as like a pawn to say like, oh, we're just going to want to go in against Ashley because she's going to be an easy beat. She kind of wants to get that over with and just go in and get her key or not.
Yeah, she's like made up her mind of I'm gonna get voted in anyway, so I may as well get psyched about it. And so Ashley spends this whole episode basically assuming she's going in.
And much more to come with Ashley very
Is it much
soon.
more or much less?
Um, well, I think you could say both.
Yeah, I agree.
Evelyn also very much wants to go in, but she is pretty aware what has been going on or what is really about to be going on is that Johnny and Kenny specifically do not want Evelyn to get to go in and get a key. They are going to do everything they can to keep her out of the face-offs. Evelyn's obviously not going to be happy about this. She's going around talking to people about how hard she like works to be here and how much she wants to compete. And so it's just not fair that all of this is going on. I'm so interested in this, not just because Evelyn's arc on this season, as we talked about from people on Reddit, and it's going to become even bigger and more as we go along, but just the perception for me of Evelyn through the season she's been on so far. She hasn't been the biggest character, but she's been very present when she's present. And her thing has been I'm a really strong competitor, and everyone they call her one of the guys because she's so strong, because I guess women just can't be strong back then, so she's one of the guys. But that doesn't matter. Her feud with Bananas slash Kenny, mostly Bananas, is so strong that they still don't want her on their boat, on their team, even knowing that she could be really good with them.
Yeah, she's gaining momentum on the TV show as she's come to a complete halt in the game. She has realized they're going to just absolutely stalemate her. You can't be a threat if you never get a key. And so, if we never allow Evelyn to go into elimination, this seems like it takes care of the problem for us.
If only. They're also going to be fighting about food again every episode. But specifically this time, it's Evelyn and Bananas getting into an argument about the way that the food's being split up. Bananas feels like Evelyn is dividing and hoarding food for herself. Again, because all the guys are supposed to have more food, but Evelyn didn't eat her food exactly when Bananas deemed it was appropriate for her to eat her food. She went back more for later because she didn't eat it all at once. So he's going to call her a dumb bitch and this and that and more of that.
And it's hard because especially Evelyn does not engage, as she says, like she doesn't even fight back. She just like, you're gonna call me that, and then walks away and decompresses. And it's so rough to watch just Johnny continue like to make her a target when she's doing literally nothing to him.
And the way that he drops like these you dumb bitch is like so mean. Like, not that there's really a nice way to say that, but like he is trying to spit this venom out of his mouth as cruelly as possible. And it's landing where, like you said, she goes to try to decompress. She's talking to Kellyanne. The two of them are, bonding over how much they hate Bananas, but like it's still not nice to hear by any means.
No, and I think you can tell he thinks he's funny when he's saying these things, and I think he probably gets a reaction from the peanut gallery of like positive feedback because he's in a position of power. So what are they going to do? And it's unfortunate because it's not going to stop anytime soon.
No. It's also his birthday, so he is gonna have a birthday party. Everyone's getting some face paint on throughout the night. Just your typical party, which is just maybe not your typical party because they're still on the island.
Yeah.
Plenty of alcohol, no food, high tension, and the high tension is going to lead to a pretty big fight here with Ashley and Robin.
Yeah, Robin apparently getting a little bit of an attitude. It sounded like they were doing a pageant or something. I don't know. But regardless, Robin, we come into the middle of it where Robin has said, rookie, go backstage. And Ashley takes offense.
Yeah, she's like, you're almost 30 years old and you're still doing this shit. Tell me I'm a rookie because you've done 7 challenges that you haven't fucking won. Kiss my ass. Ashley kind of ate her up there.
She did, honestly. It's funny. Like, I think the age comments, the like win, whatever. I think that I give it a pass because it's not just like proactive. It is Robin was an asshole and Ashley fought back. You know what? if anyone is going to have the right to be like, you've been doing challenges forever, time to retire, it's Ashley, who basically does nothing on the challenge and then never comes back.
Ashley would have a heart attack if she saw the ages of like the current challenge rosters. I mean, you're almost 30 years old and you're still doing this shit. Like, let me show you
Well,
the lineup
let me
we have
introduce you to
today.
the age that some of the rookies are coming in at these days, Ashley.
The rookies, let alone the people that are, quote, still doing this shit. So yeah. But
40-year-old debuts.
things don't end up great for Ashley here, despite her, to me, winning this argument with Robin. Because by the end of the night, when all's said and done, she was stumbling around behind the kitchen and cuts her toe
Ugh.
really badly. Lots of blood. Ultimately ends up needing 4 stitches and a
Ugh.
diagnosis to stay off of her foot for a week.
Can't get it wet, stay off it for a week, put absolutely no weight on it. Send this girl home. I don't know what we're doing here. I can't be good, even if it's bandaged, to be walking around in the sand. It's like so clear. She basically is like, yeah, my toe is cut off. Like, oh, okay. How about you go to a hospital and not just the medic tent? But Ashley sticking around, still wants to go into the face off.
Robin's reaction to this: karma's a bitch.
It's karma. It's karma, Ashley. Get out of here with your broken foot. I don't care. Like, okay, Robin.
Yeah, they do make up at one point. Like the next morning, Robin apologizes for the comment about her being a rookie and shaming her in such a way, and Ashley accepts it, so they're fine. But the more drama that Ashley's now getting into is with the rest of the house. Dunbar is going to give her a hard time. Kenny gives her a hard time because when it's pretty clear now that yeah, she can't do much to compete and shouldn't probably be out here. There's a lot going on with the Ashley of it all here. And it sounds like you're coming down more on like the anti-Ashley side than I think I am. So that's interesting.
Yes.
I'm not as mad at Ashley at all for her presence on this season, for how this all goes down. If production's not pulling her where I'm sitting, I'm like, okay, like she has every right to still be out here. But Dunbar and Kenny specifically are like, we need to feed us all so much more than we already are eating. And you're taking up our food by still being out here and you can't do anything. You're off your feet for a week. So you should go. But Ashley doesn't want to, at least not that way.
I have no problem with Ashley like being selfish and wanting to like try, but from my standpoint, I want a good episode, and Ashley effectively quitting is not a good episode.
Well, then let's just keep talking about this all here. Just as far as she is going to end up volunteering herself to go into the face off. And are you on TJ's side?
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Oh my God. I'm
Yeah.
so mad at TJ. And I guess I'm mad at you.
No, TJ got to keep this energy up.
I mean, I like the energy when it makes sense to, but what ends up happening here, if you're not watching the episodes along, is that Ashley volunteers to go in. TJ comes into the nominations and is basically like, why would you do that? Like, you obviously are not in a position to win. You're not going to win. You're basically saying that you're leaving the game. And Ashley's like, no, I want, like, what she tells us and what she's telling him is just like, she wants a reason to still be here. She wants to have her key so she can then relax and not just feel like she's sitting around for absolutely nothing. Maybe she's not going to get a key, be left behind on the beach later on. So she wants to get her key and whatever. But TJ's like laughing in her face, like, you're not getting a key. Your foot, you just got stitches. Like, you're not. And where I'm upset, I guess, at both of you now is because production told her she could stay. Why?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, here's the thing. If Ashley was like, I'm going in, like, this is what I want to do, but Ashley said multiple times, like, I know I have to go home, but I just want to go home the right way. I don't want to be a quitter. And it's like, this is the same thing. Quitting by asking people to vote you out, essentially, which I understand. She wasn't like, please vote me out, but she's like, it's okay if you do, whatever. Like, I know you're going to make the right decision. Whatever happens, if I go home, it'll be okay. She really deserves to be here. So, like, claps for her. She did so amazing. Congratulations, because you're going to stay tonight. Is like, I get that she is a rookie. She was going to get voted out anyway. She probably wasn't winning that challenge anyway. But for me in the episode, it falls flat.
I so disagree. I really feel like she was trying to win her way to, get the key. And then when that ultimately doesn't happen, at that point, she kind of she has to like resign herself to the fact that they're going to vote her out, because who's going to keep around somebody with an injury? They don't want that person to, not that the foot has anything major to do with the vote, I guess, but like they don't already view her as a strong competitor. And plus, with all of this, like she knows that they're going to get rid of her. But I think that she goes into the arena nominating herself because even though it's not a smart decision to make at this point, she really does want to get a key. So I did not see this as like your average quit of just like, I want to leave like Abram, but let me do it the other way. Like Abram, I'm rolling my eyes at. She got a cut foot. I don't really know. I
think it's
I don't know. I don't know.
75% of the way there, and both of them ruined my episode. So I'm not like mad at Ashley, but I do wish she had just quit and we got 3 people who actually.
But that's the thing. I don't think that she wanted to quit. I think she wanted to get her key.
Yeah, but I don't care. Like I think that it effectively was that. I think that she went in knowing what the outcome was going to be and was fine with that. I think she like accepted her fate
But like,
before this ever happened.
Like she's not like rolling over and dying in that game. Like she's playing this, which we're so out of order, but it'll make sense eventually if you didn't watch. But in the face off, she's like fighting for it. It's not like she's just like accepting her fate.
Yeah, which maybe the show led me to believe that her injury is much worse than it was, because let's talk about the face-off. It is, what the hell is that one called again? Ball Buster, where the women have to each pick a man who will be on their team. There is a giant inflated ball in the middle of the arena that they will rush towards, have to push as hard as they can, get the ball through their own goal 2 times, first to 2 wins, and all 6 people will be in the arena at the same time. Number one, I hate how often the women's like elimination, women's day, women's whatever comes down to you have to draft a man and we're going to do something super physical.
I mean, if it was any men voted into the elimination, I assume that they would have picked a woman to.
But like, did they need to? Could John just been the 3 women competing in this by themselves?
You would think so. I don't know what the incentive was to have more people involved. I don't know if they like play tested it with only 3 people and were like, this is hard, it's dangerous. I mean, it was dangerous. Paula ends up in this elimination, which we're going to have a lot of working back to do to get to how we got here. But Paula is getting knocked all around in this one.
Yeah, much more dangerous by putting in like Dunbar, who is 3 times the size of Paula in this challenge.
Derek,
and then
Tyree. Yeah, I mean, especially having this be like mixed with, men and women together. So it wasn't great for safety. So and, I don't really know.
Like there are so many challenges that like Paula could compete much better than Dunbar or Tyree or Derek in, and Ashley could do better, Jen could do better, but this was not that, and so I hate that a women's day was in large part about the men.
Fair. Again, we have a lot of working our way back to figure out how we got there, though. So let me swing us all the way back around to also at the party, we have a scene of Jen talking to Johnny. She obviously had said earlier when Rachel's gone, she really wants to focus on her own game at this point. Feels like a bit of a developing working relationship with Johnny Bananas and Jen here, where he's really open to the idea of like her going deeper into the game. I feel like he trusts her as a competitor to a certain extent. And if Jen ends up getting a key, it's one less key for Evelyn or Kellyanne to get. So he's hoping this elimination ends up being, or the face-off ends up being Jen, Paula, and Kellyanne. So Jen and Paula can get a key and Kellyanne goes.
Yeah, Jen and Bananas have been on a season together, so I'm not super surprised to see that they have a relationship. Jen and Kenny were on the same team together previously, so now that Rachel's gone, I understand why she has to do this, but the essential framing of this, which I hate, is she calls him literally like, you're a bit of a ringleader, and essentially is like, and I'm ready to be led. like bring me on the team, let's see what's going on, and it kind of works.
I mean, it's going to work so much more than what Rachel was doing before she made her pitch. Rachel being seen as this opposition to the family. At this point, it's like, well, it's the family or be on the outside, and try to get in.
For sure.
The airdrop comes in this episode, and we're going to get our first bit of Tyree in this entire season, where
literally
he's getting a lot of shit because apparently he hasn't gone out there to get any of these deliveries at all, but he's going to get this one.
His response is like, oh yeah, well, I work out harder. I don't care how hard you work out. That's your own personal thing. That doesn't benefit me. Screw you.
He
Like,
also
what do you
says
mean
that
you work out harder?
he doesn't seem to care about these delivery boxes much because they haven't gotten Beyonce delivered yet.
Yeah, he's like, I know there's nothing I want in that box because Beyonce Knowles hasn't showed up yet, which was, I think, probably Tyree's best line on the challenge in past or present.
It probably will stand as his best line on the challenge. Yes.
Yes.
They
Past,
also got
present, future.
they got steaks, which is going to be first of all very exciting for them, but also a lot of drama incoming. And for the boat, they get some bamboo shoots that Dan's going to be working in his head how to put the boat together. So just more boat supplies. Oh, and a phone. 3 minutes of time talking on the T-Mobile Sidekick for Coley to call her mom and Derek to call his pregnant wife.
Yeah, I think it was 10 minutes, right? Again, so they get a little bit
3.
of like, I think it was 10. So I think that like maybe 3 minutes each. I don't know, but they get whoever has not had a call last time step up, and I think Derek might get to double down here, but glad they get to check in, but it's not very interesting.
No, I mean, whether it's 3 or 10, all of them are rushing on the phone to to get off because they have to share it. So,
Yep.
But yeah, these stakes are going to cause some drama, particularly with Ashley and Dunbar. Dunbar not getting a ton on this season so far. When he is introduced to us as a part of the Family Alliance, I'm like, oh, okay, sure. But he is getting cranky out there. All of the lack of food, he feels like he's withering away, so he's getting really cranky. Ashley, Coley are just kind of not having it.
Yeah, I wonder how much of Dunbar is. I need to rewatch his Real World season at some point down the line, because I wonder how much is Dunbar an asshole, or is Dunbar surrounded by an alliance of assholes, and so he is starting to pick up on the behavior because that will like feel like he is closer to them, and like, I'm with you and we're all making fun of these girls, haha. So the behavior is starting to get worse and worse as he hangs out with Johnny and Kenny longer.
Random thought, but it feels like Dunbar is like a last name, but it's not. It's, like so many guys get, referred to, or people, I guess, in general get referred to as like the last name, especially that's a Survivor thing. It just feels like that would be his last name and he gets called that, but that's an interesting first name.
Okay.
There's your observation. Dunbar is specifically going to wonder aloud when Ashley will just go away and die. He would like to know.
Hopefully not soon.
Yeah. So he's annoyed. Even when they get the steak cooked, he's not happy because it's like, he says it's nugget sized. So he's like, it's a tease because it's still not enough food. So he is just cranky until he gets enough food. We're going to get more on why Evelyn can't get her key. She, again, is very aware of how hard it is right now for her to go in, how much it's going to continue to be harder for her to go in. Bananas is forming a plan with his group to ensure that Evelyn is locked out of this vote, where he wants Jen and Paula to both volunteer themselves to go in. And then if anybody starts to mention, if Evelyn jumps up and says she wants to go in, Jen and Paula need to tell the rest of the group, we're not comfortable with that. We would rather Kellyanne go in, and then everybody will rally around the two of them and not let Evelyn get her chance to go.
Yeah, there's this plan that Kellyanne needs to keep going in because then they can eliminate her and the key becomes available. But the girls aren't super comfortable with it. They don't want to go against Kellyanne. She just proved herself to be really strong. You got to go against the rookies of your choice, so let us, have some say. And Bananas immediately starts dropping the R word about the girls on his own team and how they're so dumb. And no woman is immune from Johnny Bananas' tongue this season, unfortunately.
Not even a little bit, not even his own allies. Yeah, we got our R-word broads out in our cabana that are afraid to play the game because they're all afraid of Kellyanne. He's like, oh, she sat on some bamboo for 2 hours. What does that prove? Absolutely nothing. And so eventually they are, going to give in to what Paula and Johanna are asking for here, because they want Ashley to be the one to go into elimination. She's already halfway home mentally. And they're like really gonna point their finger in the women's face and be like, well, you're fucking us if you lose here. We're gonna give you what you want, but don't screw us over here by losing, because God forbid the women take some control of their own game from these two guys. We get to nominations and a lot of volunteers here. Jen, Paula, Evelyn, Ashley, Johanna. We end up having to go to a vote.
Yeah, and I mean, Johanna's not even really a serious volunteer. Even she is just like hee hee ha ha, like no one's voting for me to go in. This is so funny.
Yeah.
So I think she's just doing it in order to, like, worst case scenario, at least Evelyn doesn't go in. So that is the volunteering there. But Evelyn is completely shut out. No one's gonna vote for her. Even as soon as Jen and Paula get enough votes, Bananas jumps in, is like, I actually think we should all automatically agree that Ashley goes in because her foot is hurt and we need to send her home so she stops eating our food. And Evelyn doesn't get to go in. Bye. And Evelyn's pissed. She's not down for that, but everyone, of course, agrees with Bananas.
And you gotta feel for Evelyn here. Not only does she obviously want to go in, but just like she is being so shunned by everybody else who's just following Banana's lead. She's just like, this is so ridiculous. Like, even if Ashley wins and gets a key, like, what good is she on a boat? Which, again, I don't know what the foot necessarily. I mean, it's probably not supposed to be in the water, but maybe if the doctor clears it, it's fine. I don't know. But Ashley does point out it's only like 4 days more from this point that she's not supposed to be on her foot, so it's not a big deal. But Evelyn says, let's call a spade a spade. This is your alliance moving forward to try to get your people keys, and it is what it is. So we have pretty clearly seen this alliance like not hiding themselves, but also it's not being referred to as openly in front of everybody. So when Rachel does this, when Evelyn does this, it's nice to hear them like called out, even if it's not going to mean anything.
I think it's known. I think it maybe you have like the Dans of the world who are like a little outside of the game and just like, I'm here and we're all gonna have a fair chance, right? But I think for anyone who is pulling strings, they know what's going on.
Yeah. And we obviously have this face off. Before we get to it, though, is when we get the scene of all the flies. Crazy.
Ugh. Yeah,
Gross.
which Kohara, the smartest person on the challenge, just immediately just sits under a bug net and chills.
I mean, I don't know how long this swarm of flies was like bothering them. It's during the day, which is at least better than like if this was at night, no one's getting any sleep. But every single one of them are out there. Paul is like by the water, just like swatting. People have couch cushions, they have cardboard, they have plates. They're just swatting at flies all over the place as if like that is going to stop the mass of them from bothering them.
Yeah, no, I think my first reaction, like, unfortunately, I think I would have not been as smart as Kohara. Maybe I would have run to the bed, and because we've had those bug nets over and over, so maybe I run to the bed, but otherwise I'm like running into the water and like diving under, like, please, as much as my body is submerged as possible away from these bugs.
This could be my breaking point. This is possibly the point where I just tell
Yeah.
production, like, get me out of here, because that's just too much for me. So I don't know, but that's me. There's a lot of talk about people quitting on this season. I don't know. Like, I would love to know more. If you know, or if anyone knows, like how much they knew going into this season that it was going to be different from the normal challenge.
Yeah, I do wonder. It doesn't feel like a lot.
No. We talked about the face-off ball buster, which was Jen, Paula, and Ashley. Jen was working with Tyree. Paula was working with Dunbar. Ashley was working with Derek. Derek, for someone being in the alliance, really does seem like he helps Ashley out a lot here.
I think they all made the best picks possible, pretty much. Because like if Jen picks Kenny, like Kenny's gonna help Paula. You know what I mean? So I think that they all made pretty much, and just using him as an example, I think Ashley picks Derek, who is like loves competing.
Yeah.
Thinks like I'm gonna try my hardest for the person that I'm with. I think Dunbar, like, big guy, can prove himself. Tyree, big guy, not in the main alliance. So I think they all picked pretty optimally, actually.
Yeah, Paula and Dunbar go on to get the win after they got the first point, and then we have this moment of Jen realizing that if Paula wins, that's okay for her because she'll go in and vote against Ashley, and she feels like she'll be okay in that situation. So they end up teaming up. You had to figure at some point this was going to turn into two teams teaming up on
Easy.
another, and so we eventually get there.
Yeah, honestly, I almost felt like it was happening in the first point. It's not explicitly said, but it looks like at one point that Jen and Tyree are pushing it towards Paula's goal. So
I mean, after the stalemate, it's like, okay, we have to make sure that we are on the same page here. Like, we have to pick which one of us is getting the win because
yep.
it's stupid to do otherwise. Also, they were playing for a kicker IK 500 docking station, which I just want to point out, especially because those docking stations where you could like plug your iPod in or whatever music player, like, oh my God, I was rich as hell if I had one of those in my possession to put my music into a speaker.
I remember I was like, I need one of those, and then I never used it. And I just listened to my music on headphones all the time.
Literally any device that I could just like plug, to take any kind of speaker to amplify my music. I was like bringing it to the beach. I was bringing it to like theater hangouts. I was like, guys, I got the speakers. We're good here.
Oh,
Crazy.
wow. The MVP.
Simpler time. What do you think about Ashley saying that she's unlikely to get voted back in because she's a rookie and disabled?
Well, she does qualify as for now. So, or like at the moment. I
I think she's
again,
right that
I
she's
think
not getting voted back
Ashley
in.
always knew the deal going in.
Yeah, TJ's going to give her even more shit again here, where she goes to give her pitch and she thanks Derek for his help today. She knows she's not at her best and she gets that Jen deserves to stay here, but she trusts them to make the best decision. If I'm like giving in a little bit to where you are viewing her and where TJ is viewing her, then yes, it does seem like she's resigned to that at this point. But it's still, we've seen so many more egregious quits that I feel like she doesn't deserve this like other quitters do, but she gets so much shit.
When DJ is like, you're kind of ruining the whole situation. I think it's like, yeah, like I want Evelyn to go in. I want Kellyanne to go in. Like I want someone who is going to make this more interesting. And it's not like, I think TJ is probably speaking for production. Who's like, crap, we don't have the best format this season and they're already ruining it. And now Ashley's ruining it further. So we thought people were going to be voting each other in and screwing each other. And now everyone's just volunteering. This is so boring. Ashley volunteering to just quit, like just freaking quit the season. I wish that they had just met a Vector. It would have been so much better, a much more interesting episode. I think this episode is made pretty boring from knowing that Ashley will just go home from the jump, essentially.
I think this might be the second worst TJ coming down on a quote unquote quitter behind Brandon from the late 20s, whatever season.
Interesting.
Right now, that's where I'm kind of placing it in my mind. He is mad at her, like pissed. He tells the rest of the people, like, if anybody else wants to quit, or I think he actually says, please don't, like, not like if you wanted to quit now. He's like, knock it off. So Jen also, of course, made her pitch. She's like, look, I'm going to give 100%, if not more. Ashley can't do that. So we get down to voting to send one of these two women home. Ashley gets enough votes that they don't even finish the voting. Nobody votes for Jen to leave. Everyone votes for Ashley. She's gone.
It's so weird this season. Like, wow, the impact that Big Easy had, because I would think we could vote out Jen and just throw in Johanna next time against Ashley. And we're set. Like, keep Ashley in. Who cares? What's she doing? She's wasting her food. But if we get Jen out of here, that's effectively the same thing. I mean, whatever.
Either way, you're voting out someone that's going to be eating. So that can't be it. But it's just
but I'm just saying in terms of how they were thinking about it before. Like they want her to quit. They want her gone. But like, you're not bringing Jen on your boat. Get her out of here too.
Yeah, they're really focused on having, good, strong people at the end of the game, however that ends up shaking out for you.
Get out the strong people. They suck, and you're not going to be on their boat.
After Ashley is officially told she's eliminated from the game, Evelyn walks past her and what's a good adjective for the way that she says to Ashley, well, you look heartbroken, sarcastically?
Yeah, I would say sarcastically with some mean tone in it.
Yeah. And Ashley looks at her like, excuse me? Like, what? Because Ashley still, and this is where I, again, just feel a little bit of like the authenticity of like that she didn't actually just want to leave. That she's just like, what the hell? Like, what is going on? Why is everybody so mad at me? But Evelyn says she's happy Ashley is gone and out of her sight. And that's going to be the case for forever. Ashley never comes back.
Bye, Ashley. I'm okay.
Ashley.
She was fine. I think I was surprised she never came back in the day. I think she was a replacement on her Real World season, if I remember correctly. She is like fine. I'm not super surprised we never get her again, but at the same time, I think we could have given her one more season.
So you would have been much happier, or you wouldn't feel this way about her at all if she just left after getting the stitches.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, fair. But just like overall through the other 3 episodes of the season, like I was really enjoying her. And then when I checked to see if she comes back again and saw no, I was disappointed. I mean, look, I'll be okay, but I would have liked to see at least one more chance.
Basically anyone who only does one season, unless they really piss me off, I'm like, well, we could have tried one more time. But And so I would have definitely been happier to get one more Ashley season. Get her when she is in a actual house and not having to starve on an island and has glass cut through her toe.
Yeah.
But um,
Also,
I
like
don't know. I don't think we were getting that much more.
the way her name is spelled too, like I knew that was going to be a diva. ASHLI. Like
Ashley's with an I or divas. I
I
think that's a good
knew
take.
I knew she was going to be bringing some
I
heat
like
out
that.
here, so I was prepared. Um, so going forward, obviously, we're still trying to keep Evelyn out of the face-offs. We'll see how that's going to go. Evelyn's really annoyed about that because there's not much she can do besides, feel like she can call them all out for what they're doing to her. There's not much right now that Evelyn can do. We'll see if that changes over the next couple of episodes or before the end of the season. But right now, as it stands, our key holders are on the men's side. We have Johnny and Kenny, who both won a key by the vote by not being eliminated. Derek won his key, and Dunbar was gifted his key by Abram. On the women's side, we have Paula and Kellyanne, who both won their keys in a face-off, and then Robin and Jen, who got their keys in a vote, where the other person was eliminated. And all 8 keys at this point have been handed out. If the season ended today, everyone not named all of those people would be done out of here.
Yeah, I am very interested to see how the format change affects things. I think that there are a lot of people who are very competitive left, who, whether they be inside of the alliance or outside, I'm very excited to see how things change up. Do people start volunteering even more, enthusiastically? Is there more keeping Evelyn out of the vote? Regardless, I don't know if it's going to be like the most exciting, but I'm excited for a change.
It's definitely a unique season. All of the reviews that we read from people's just quick comments over on Reddit definitely, kind of tell you that there is a pretty wide spectrum of what we or what challenge fans think about the season. So yeah, I'll just be curious to see how the two of us feel as we keep watching along. So of course, the next part we'll have the next 2 episodes, and then we'll close it out with part 4. But before we close out today, let's take a peek at the confessional chart, where we don't need this confessional chart to necessarily tell us that plenty of people on this season have been MIA from the edit. Specifically, I'm thinking of like your Coley, Ryan, Tyree.
Yep.
Tyree, had a little bit of a spotlight here, but that was it. Ryan is in a bunch of scenes talking to various women on the cast, but like it's never a highlight specifically about him. And Coley, I'm just like, her and Jen, I thought were like in this together, but she had the scene fighting with Dunbar, and that's it.
Yeah, Coley is probably the one that stands out to me of like, who the hell are you on this season? If I had no reference going on, just like, what is she doing? She does not have a single storyline in sight. Crazy that Tyree has a total of 3 confessionals so far.
Yeah,
Holy crap.
2 in episode 1 and 1 in episode 4.
That is crazy.
I will say the past 2 episodes, like this batch, I know that might sound crazy to all of you that just listen to us talk about the family alliance and whatever, was less Johnny and Kenny than the season opened out with.
Yeah.
Like, a little less.
For sure. There's definitely a little less. I mean, the fact that Johanna is down with 8 confessionals total for the season, I really thought this would be a bigger Johanna season than it has ended up being so far.
I think for her, Kohada, it's the same thing of like they're not narrating for us, but they're certainly present in a lot of these scenes. So we're seeing them much more than we're hearing them. But Johnny and Kenny are still at the top of the leaderboard. 35 for Johnny, 30 for Kenny. Robin has 24 after a bit of a breakout episode in episode 3. Does she have 18 confessionals in episode 3? Look at her go. Wow, that's crazy.
Damn.
Then Paula, Derek, and Jen tied. Derek feels like much higher than I would have expected him to be, but
he always gets like the basic confessional of like, and Ashley picked me. I'm gonna do my best for Ashley. Like, okay, thanks, Derek.
Yep. Kellyanne obviously feels like a very big presence here. She's like really in the middle of all of this. Dan had a big start with the Dan and Dave of it all, but has not been super present so far. Dunbar as well, just kind of they're there, but it's a smaller cast, so these people that aren't the most present are still like, I'm aware that they're there for the most part.
Yeah, that's the thing, is I think that there have been people who have been present in the storyline, but people are mostly talked about by the bigger characters than they are getting to talk about themselves.
Yeah. Well, we will see what happens next here on the island with 2 more episodes coming up for part 3. But anything else for you today?
No, that's pretty much all for me today.
Okay.
I would say that I'm pretty good.
Cool. Well, if you guys are looking for more from us, obviously we are doing House of Villains coverage right now. So if you're watching this season with us in real time, season 3 of House of Villains, we have our recaps coming out every single week. It's been a lot of fun. So don't miss that. We also have our bonus episodes on Patreon every single week, talking about all things in the world of reality TV, especially Survivor, Drag Race. Season 50 of Survivor has been a lot of fun so far. So we have been talking about it over there, patreon.com/the free agents podcast. You can also find me on the Diary Room podcast, talking through finding the best player in Big Brother history. Upcoming this coming week in real time, round 2 will begin. So round 1 just closed out. Scally helped us crown the worst player in Big Brother history and a special patron podcast over there, which was a lot of fun. Check it out. But also the regular version of the podcast up on YouTube and everywhere else you get your podcasts. Round 2 will be starting this week with Taryn Armstrong. So make sure you check that out. Otherwise, I think that's about it for me. Anything special for you?
No, find me here. Find me on social media. I got, this stuff's going on. I really was appreciative of the response over on Reddit and people sending in comments elsewhere. So definitely let us know what you're thinking, what your opinions are. It was a lot of fun to get to go through that today. But otherwise, part 3 of the island, it's coming. Oh boy.
Lock in. We're not making a Reddit post every single part of these. So if you have more feedback along the way, tweet it at us, or if you're a patron, drop it in the group chat. Always interested to hear what everyone's got to say as we go along with this rewatch. But that will be it for now. Thank you all so much for being here with us for part 2. We'll be back soon, but until then, take care, and we hope to see you all in the future.